Here we have a Surflo 2088-403-144. It has 1.8 gallons per minute, 12 volt, 4 amp, 45 psi diaphragm pump. It actually turns out to be bad. I try to take it apart and finds out that the screws will not come out. They just stripped and broke off. It does have the rubber grommets on it and whatnot. I got to take this part off and this part off also so I can reuse them on the new one. The new one I'm replacing it with is a Surflo 4008-101-E65. It's a 12 volt, 3 gallons per minute, 55 psi. It's the Revolution. They say it's supposed to be a really nice pump. It actually has 4 diaphragms versus the old one has 3. Also, I did pick up a Inline strainer, half-inch barb. It is a 255-323 strainer that attaches to the screws on the inlet right there, and has the strainer. It goes in before the pump, not after. It goes in so it protects the pump from getting any debris if you have city water or any other type of water source that you're filling your camper up with that has particles in it. It protects that, and every once in a while you just check it, clean out that metal strainer that's in there, and should be pretty good. But the reason I replaced this pump was the fact that I was getting low water pressure to the shower, and it was real low pressure altogether. And then I tried to say, well, I'll take it apart and unscrew it, but seeing as how I broke all the screws, I decided to go ahead and replace it, because it says on here was made in don't mind the motorcycle going by, 7 of 1997. So this is 2015, so it is quite old and it's been around a while. But I will go ahead and show you how to go ahead and replace this inside the camper. Here we are. We got a Rockwood Premier. It is a 2306 Rockwood Premier Deluxe version. I didn't crank it all the way up, as you see. It's just kind of halfway up, so don't worry about that. But we're going to go ahead and replace the Surflo pump in the camper. Let's get in here. I might have to turn the light on here, give you some power to see here. Figure out how to do that on my camera. Turn this thing on. Yep, there we go. My actual pump was located here underneath the counter. As you see, I'm going to move some tools out of the way. My pump actually has a location right there. Move some of this out of the way. Actually, that's the water inlet here, and this is the water outlet that goes into my hot water tank. Hot water out, cold water in, and that will go in and over to my sink, which is right there, and also my shower, which is underneath here, which when it's all open, this actually lifts up and there's a shower and a toilet that's there. But I was getting low water pressure out of there, but my sink actually had quite a bit of pressure. But I want to show you, once I get this together, how to put it in and how to install it. Should be only about 15-20 minutes. Shouldn't take too long for you. But that's kind of where I found it, and I'll show you the setup after I get this already done. Alright, see you in a few. Here we are with a 4008 freshwater pump from Surflo. It's got a 2-year guarantee. It's the Revolution pump, model number 4008. I don't know if you can see that right there. Dash 101 E65. It's a 12 volt, 3 gallon per minute, 55 psi pump. and the amperage on it's actually 7.5, which is not a bad deal for this pump. The old pump was actually 4 amps, so this takes a little bit more, but my system actually will withstand up to 10 amps, so I'm actually good. But here we are at the first opening of the box. Some of the other stuff looks like there's a little French there, a little French on the back side there for you. And again, here it is. It's an 86-898. I think I paid a little more than what I should have paid for this pump. Paid $100 for this thing at one of the local RV shops versus me paying online for one. Here's some paperwork that came with it, different model series. This thing is actually pretty easy to install. They're telling you how to put the strainer together, which I did purchase a strainer to add to this at this time. Let me pull this out of here. If I can get this all at one time. Set this down so I can pull it out. Let's see. A little harder to get out than I expected. Okay. Pump out. Ooh, I gave this 2 little fittings. Which seem to be nice. One underneath. Oh, look at that. Okay. They gave us, it looks like, 2 plastic screw-on fittings with this pump, which is really nice because the old pump, I'll tell you this, I actually have it outside here. The old pump has a problem because that fitting you see there, the gray one, good luck trying to find those anymore. Most plumbing supply stores might have it. I found one at Ace Hardware, but my other one that I had a problem, it actually cracked right here because somebody over tightened it and caused it to break. As you see, for the water inlet, that's what they gave me here, but these are actually got little twist-ons, which should be pretty nice to be able to attach stuff right onto that and go forward. But I am replacing it with a 2088 403-144, which this one was a 2.8 gallons per minute, 12 volt, 45 psi, and see, it actually was 4 amp. So it's a little more amperage, a little more fuel pressure. They say this is actually a lot quieter because of the rubber feet and the bushings that they put on it. And in reading on the internet, they give you some better understanding of what to do to make these pumps quieter while you're using them. And they say to attach about a 15-inch hose to the inlet and outlet because of the hard pipe sound that you have here. These hard pipes, they actually keep vibration through it of the pump vibrating and causes more vibration throughout your whole system and carries that volume of vibration down the pipeline. So if you have a plastic tube, like my inlet already is plastic, I might attach, at this point I'm not going to, but I might later, depending how loud this is going to be, one onto this outlet and just swirl it around in a circle to kind of take up some of the vibration before sending it down the line. Seems to help that out. I also purchased a strainer, an inline strainer to go before it. It is actually part number 255323. It's a 1/2-inch barb, and I will open that up as we speak here. Hopefully you can see this. This part actually comes with a hose clamp that your inlet go on there. This pretty much will go, if you look on your pump, let me show you here, on your pump, the water flow, there's an arrow right here that shows you which way the inlet goes. So this is my inlet and this is my outlet. So you're going to put it on your inlet here. So basically you take these little blue caps off. We're going to put some pipe tape, which I have here, 1/2-inch threaded pipe tape. Just put a little bit on it, that's all I'm using. There is some water that they tested at the manufacturer. They say if you do have a little water in it, that's okay. Because I do test the pumps once at the manufacturer. You're not getting a used pump, so don't think you are because you have a little water drainage out of there. It is perfectly fine. But the way this is going to go, I'll thread this on here and have that ready to rock, and then I'll put my inlet hose here so this will sit down there. And that strainer, if you can see, It's just a metal strainer that can unscrew, catches debris before it goes into your pump, so you don't get any particular particles in your pump to mess up your diaphragm or your shutoff switch. This pump also has, I don't know if you can see it, there's a small inlet little screw hole there that's for your to adjustments. If you find that this pump at low pressure is cycling, turns on, turns off, turns on, turns off under low pressure, like if you're just barely putting the water, you can adjust that in there. We can put another video up on how you adjust that. But I'll do that after I get this put back together, once I put that strainer on here for you, and we'll get back with you. Thanks. Okay, here is the pump again. I have reassembled the outlet spigot for this thing, and also have put the strainer on and tightened it down, just to show you what that strainer actually is and what it does. When you just unscrew this little plastic thing, as you see, there's a little bit of water in there from the pump. Dump that out there. But what that does, there's a little rubber gasket in there and just a piece of screening that the water goes through here, strains it, and then pushes it back the rest of the way down through the system. But it is on the inlet of the pump is where this strainer is. And periodically you do want to check to see if there's anything in there that you need to clean out. Just so it, you know, if it gets, you start having issues where your water flow slows down or something, that this is going to protect your whole system of having it. But the only thing is, it's only going to protect the pump. Now, if you've got city water coming in through the side of there, pushing and filling this up, your city water could have items in it that also could clog your lines too. You might want to put a strainer or something on that, and also a pressure valve so you're not getting enough. On this system, there is, if you look, there's a black wire which is ground. You have two red wires. The one red wire goes in to the actual switch that turns the pump on and off by pressure. It builds up pressure. When the pressure reaches, it turns off. When it needs pressure, it starts to cycle it back on. But this wire I'm actually going to take off, because as you see, I already have a wire wired together down there from the old pump that I'm just going to reuse that same wire. It's the same gauge, everything's the same, so instead of playing with the T-nut, I'll just disconnect this one, pull it out, and put the other one in there. At this time, that's what I'm going to do here. Get this out. It's kind of one-handed, kind of stinks. There we go. So with that out, as you can see, don't mind my mess here, this wire, I'll plug it in and have it plug into that one that we just disconnected. And the white wire there is actually going to be for the ground. So it's basically going to sit just like that with this as my outlet right here. I will plug into here, and the white hose going on my strainer over there. And then I'll attach all my wires. When I get that done, I will show you a picture of that. Okay, gang, I finally got it reinstalled. As you can see here, that red wire I was talking about is right there going into the front that I used. I got my strainer hooked up, got all of this hooked up. Now I'm going to hit the button to try to see if it's all going to work. I also have a device on my phone. It's a decibel reader to be able to tell how many decibels this thing is producing and what kind of sound noise it's actually going through. That I will, it's actually called Sound Meter. It's an app on my phone here that I can pull up. Right now, me talking is about 82, 83. Let me go ahead and turn this on and see what we're getting on this. My switch is way down there, and now I keep hitting my head because my roof is not all the way up. And there you go, folks. We're looking at, I don't know if you can see that or not, 66 decibels. Yeah, 66 decibels. Now let me actually close this. And the reason why it's still staying on is because I don't have any water in it, but it can actually run dry. Not a problem. Now with that being off, 62. Let me go over here on the bed, see what I'm reading. Dog barking at 55. 45 is what I was reading it at. So, there you have it. My other one was closer to 90 decibels where it's closed and turned off. I'm going to actually hook up some water to actually get some running water through the system and determine where we're looking at and see if I get pressure back. Alright, I'll give you an update on that. Okay gang, I've started adding water to the outside fill tank here. Putting water in as you see there. I'm going to turn it on and see what kind of pressure we're getting. Turn on my pump. Here to kick on. Of course I'm bleeding some of the lines out. Still had air in them. Now my water tank, my water heater, I had to drain that when I changed the pump out, so it's going to take it a little bit to get some pressure and build up pressure on that. But that seems to have some pressure there. I'm actually going to set this down there because my camper is not 100%. Let's see. Back to a frickin' trickle again. It's pumping, but not real great. Now, the only thing that I think could happen here, got it on off on the excerpt here. Okay, it looks like my water tank is full. Turning that on, I've got tons of pressure there. It looks like that's pretty good water flow. This still, there we go, a little better. There we go. Blowing out the lines, I guess. And that's not leaking. Checking it out. Looks as if I might have to clean some of my lines out because the way it's reacting here. Spitting like that. Or it's leaking underneath. To hear that, it's kind of weird. Of course, my water is done here. Some of that spill out. and it did shut off. So let's see if it turns on. Plenty of pressure there. Wow. Kicked on. $57. I feel a slight vibration under the floor, but it looks like in the 60s. Wow, that's really happy with this pump per se. But I think I'm going to have to blow out my lines all the way up to the shower head, like it might have some debris in it or something, for it to spit out like that. Turn these on and see what it does now. Oh, see? Like it's still got a lot of air in the line. Yeah, I'm thinking that's exactly what the problem is. This camper sat for about 3 years, so, and of course the toilet had problems too, so it's not really got a ton of pressure. It builds pressure and then it goes dead again. Builds pressure and goes dead. I'm wondering if I got to blow the lines backwards and clean that out. I'm having a sneaky suspicion that's my problem. So, well, I will check back with you guys as soon as I figure this one out. Okay, gang, I found out about my shower. I'd taken the actual shower valve off and try to blow into it. I could blow into here and open both of them. It would go through real nice, but come out really hard out the center. So what I did, I tried to take this apart, and I pulled this little piece out, and when I did, inside there's actually this little black flapper, and it looks like it was I pulled it out. If you see, there's 2 holes. I pulled it out of that little small hole, not knowing it was actually wadded up pretty bad. The rubber was. It wasn't actually flat like this anymore. It was like wadded up and sucked down through that hole. I don't know, through pressure or what, but if you can see, I don't know if you can see down there, but there's actually particles down inside that hole that is clogging this valve up pretty bad, so it only gets a trickle of water coming through it. So I went ahead and bought another one, and I can go inside the camper and show you exactly. Since I pulled this out, I tried to put it back in and it won't go back in properly, and then I stuck a hole through it, so I decided to buy another one. I bought a new one. It's a Phoenix 4-inch shower. It actually has the white nozzles versus the smoke like I got here, but it was like 21 bucks. You can get them from online at eBay or Amazon for about 12. I paid a little bit more, but it's real close to my house. I don't have to drive real far, and I can go pick it up and don't have to pay shipping. So that's what I'd have paid if I shipped it. So here, I'll show you what my water looks like now. It looks kind of dark in here. See if I can get some lights on. Let's see. Here we go. Look at that. Beautiful water coming out now, unlike before. It was barely coming out at all, so I'm getting tons of pressure coming out of there. Shut that off in the cold water. Hard to do this one-handed here. And there's my cold water. I don't know if you can hear the pump back there. It's kicking on and kicked off. Kicked on and kicked off. Really happy with that new pump that I put in. That thing is super quiet. Here, I'll even turn this on and show you. Oh, I gotta lease that out. I'm getting tons of pressure. You see, I mean, it's just hot water. It's cold. I mean, it's close, blasting through there. It's got some pressure on it. It goes up to 55 psi, so I'm really, really happy with the way this pump is working. A new pump is really quiet. Surprising, even with it closed. It's pretty quiet. I don't know, or I'll set this here. Let you see if you can listen to it. Water on. Turned it off. I'll leave that water on and also turn on the shower. I've got some pretty good pressure still. Got the water going here, and I've still got pressure here, going pretty good. So really surprised. Yeah, with all that pushing right out. The only thing I don't like about this is the high side of my drain here, so it's kind of bizarre that turn this all off. That drain is so high, so it doesn't drain out real well. I'm really happy with this. Well, folks, so there you have it. I redid the water pump, fixed my leaks, and also replaced that pump. Again, that was a Surflo. Excuse me. Here we go. It was a Surflo Revolution 4008-100-E65. And what was in there before was a 2088-043-144. This is a 3-gallon water pump, 7.5 amp max, 55 psi versus the old one was only 45 psi. So I'm getting a little more pressure out of it. And also I added an inline strainer, 1/2-inch barb. That part number is 255323. And then also I replaced that shower head because of the trickle, and I'll show you that, with a number 4 white shower valve. Acrylic handles, non-metallic, all plastic. And folks, if you like it, give me a like, subscribe YouTube channel please. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Y'all have a great day. Hope you have fun RVing and you're doing real good now. Take care.